Yeah. That's awesome. That looks comfortable. Yeah, me too.
Oh, it's like summer.
That was awesome. Okay, page 7, Refuge and Bodhicitta. In the Buddha's Dharma and Sangha, until enlightened I seek refuge, through merit from giving and the rest. To aid all may I become Buddha. In the Buddha's Dharma and Sangha, until enlightened I seek refuge, through merit from giving and the rest. To aid all may I become Buddha. In the Buddha's Dharma and Sangha, until enlightened I seek refuge, through merit from giving and the rest. To aid all may I become Buddha. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and its causes. May all sentient beings never be parted from sorrowless bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free from bias, attachment, and hatred. To the founder, the endowed transit, the destroyer, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer of the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. To the founder, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, subduer of the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. To the founder, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, subduer of the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. When, O supreme among humans, you were born on this earth, you paced out 7 strides, then said, I am supreme in this world, to you who are wise, then I prostrate. With pure bodies formed supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best, Lord, to you I prostrate. With a supreme signs, face like spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. Dust free like you, the 3 worlds are not, incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean, to you, the one gone to thusness, I prostrate. The purity that frees one from attachment, the virtue that frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality, to the Dharma that pacifies, I prostrate. Those who are liberated and who also show the path to liberation, the holy field qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you, the sublime community intending virtue, I prostrate. Homage to the Supreme Buddha, homage to the Dharma refuge, homage to the great Sangha, to all 3 ever devout homage, to all worthy of respect, bowing with bodies as many as all realms, atoms, in all aspects. With supreme faith I pay homage. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly, this is the teaching of the Buddha. Star or mirage, the flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash, a lightning, a cloud, see conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all-seeing, subdue the foe of faults, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by the waves of aging, sickness, and death. From Tushita's hundreds of God's protector's heart, to tip of this fresh, pure, white heap, curd like cloud, O Losang Dragpa, Dharma's omniscient king, pray come to this place with your disciples. In space ahead, on lion throne, lotus and moon, venerable Guru, smile brightly with delight. Pray stay hundreds of eons to spread doctrine as supreme merit field for my mind of faith. Your wisdom mind sees full range of knowables. Your eloquent speech adorns fortunate years. Your beauteous body, fame, glory, outstanding. Homage to you, worthwhile to think of, hear and see. Pleasant offerings of water, various flowers, fragrant incense, light perfume, and so on. Oceans of offerings set out and envisioned, offered up to you, supreme field of merit, non-virtue committed with body, speech, and mind, which I have heaped up since beginningless time, especially what has contradicted three vows. Each I confess from my heart with strong regret. In time of strife you strove to learn and practice, shunned eight mundane concerns, made life essence full. O protector from depths of our hearts, we rejoice in your powerful great deeds. Venerable Gurus from love and wisdom, clouds densely massed in your Dharmakaya sky, pray loose a rain of vast profound Dharma on fields of disciples just as needed. May whatever virtue that I've here gathered bring benefit to all beings and doctrine, and may it make Venerable Losang Dragpa's essential teaching specially shine forever. Mig made say where ter chen chen raising, dream make yen pei wang po jam pel yang, du pung malu dom te sang wei da, gong chen ke pei tsu gen song kappa, lo zang drag pei jab la so wade. O glorious and precious root Guru, pray take seed of lotus on my crown, caring for me with your great kindness. Bestow attainments of body, speech, and mind. O glorious and precious root Guru, pray take seed of lotus at my heart, caring for me with your great kindness. Bestow attainments common and supreme. O glorious and precious root Guru, pray take seed of lotus at my heart, caring for me with your great kindness, until supreme awakening remains steadfast. Homage to the exalted three jewels. Thus have I heard at one time the Blessed One was dwelling in Rajagriha on Vulture Mountain, together with a great assembly of monks and a great assembly of bodhisattvas. At that time the Blessed One was absorbed in the concentration of countless aspects of phenomena called profound illumination. At that very time, the Superior Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the Great Being, was looking perfectly at the practice of profound perfection of wisdom, perfectly looking at the emptiness of inherent existence of the five aggregates also. Then, through the power of the Buddha, the Venerable Sariputra said to the Superior Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the Great Being, how should a child of lineage train who wishes to engage in the practice of profound perfection of wisdom? Thus he spoke, and the Superior Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the Great Being, replied to Venerable Sariputra as follows. Sariputra, whichever son or daughter of the lineage wishes to engage in the practice of profound perfection of wisdom should look perfectly like this, subsequently looking perfectly and correctly at the emptiness of inherent existence of five aggregates also. Form is empty, emptiness is form, emptiness is not other than form. Form is not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, compositional factors of consciousness are empty. Sariputra, like this, all phenomena are empty. Without characteristics, that is, they are not produced and do not cease. They have no defilement, no separation from defilement. They have no decrease and no increase. Therefore, Sariputra, in emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no compositional factors, no consciousness. There is no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visible form, no sound, no smell, no taste, object of touch, no mental phenomena. There is no I element and so forth up to no mind element, up to no element of mental consciousness. There is no ignorance and no cessation of ignorance and so forth up to no aging and death and no cessation of aging and death. Likewise, there is no suffering, no origin, no cessation, no path, no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Therefore, Sariputra, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely and abide in the perfection of wisdom. And because their minds have no obstructions, they have no fear. Passing utterly beyond error, they attain the final state beyond sorrow. All the Buddhas who reside in the three times by relying upon the perfection of wisdom become manifest complete Buddhas in the state of unsurpassed perfect and complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the equal to the unequaled mantra, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering since it is not false, should be known as the truth. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is proclaimed. Tayata gate gate paragate parasam gate bodhisoha. Sariputra, this is how a bodhisattva, a great being, should train in the profound perfection of wisdom. Then the Blessed One arose from that concentration and said to the Superior Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the Great Being, well said, O child of lineage, so it is. The profound perfection of wisdom should be practiced exactly as you have taught, and the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, the Venerable Sariputra, the Superior Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the Great Being, and the entire assembly, as well as worldly beings, gods, humans, demigods, Gandharvas, and others, were filled with admiration and highly praised what had been spoken by the Blessed One. In the Holy Supreme abode of the Dakinis, possessed of clairvoyance and miraculous power, unwaveringly caring for practitioners as your children, homage to the host of three-placed Dakinis. Tayata om gate gate paragate parasam gate bodhisoha. Through the power of the truth exalted three-jewel speech, may all decided negativity such as the four Maras be stopped. May they become non-existent. May they become pacified. All enemies, obstructors, hindrances, shanti, couriers, soha. The 80,000 types of obstructors pacified, freed from adverse, harmful conditions. May all be conducive and perfect auspiciousness, bring happiness and well-being here, right now. Round perfume anointed flowers strewn Meru forelands, sun and moon adorn, seen as Buddha, field and offered. Thus may all sentient beings enjoy pure lands. Jetsun Lama Dampa Kyenam Kichoku Kala Kyense zin ma la jab ge cho ki char pa wab tu so idam guru ratna mandalakam niryatayami Chodam tum cham nam la cham chu bardu dak yu tam su chi dak yu tum tam na gir drola penchir sangye dropar sho Chodam tum cham nam la cham chu bardu dak yu tam su chi dak yu tum tam na gir drola penchir sangye dropar sho Chodam tum cham nam la cham chu bardu dak yu tam su chi dak yu tum tam na gir drola penchir sangye dropar sho
Good evening, everybody. It's cold outside. I think it's cold, yeah. It's winter. We have to accept. New England weather. No choice. Anyway, good. Today, if we have something to look, we can go to Google. Yeah, the Google. Very special colors also. So, if you want to go to enlightenment, you go to the yellow color. Go to hell, there's some green color. Anyway, it's a great opportunity, cold weather. Also, some people far away. Very hard walk all day. After you guys come to here to study a little bit Dharma. It's a very, very fortunate opportunity to do that. Anyway, always remember motivation in order to benefit all sentient beings, we need to we have to ability to powerful help to other sentient beings. Therefore, when we achieve enlightenment, then we have the power, we have our ability to help for all the sentient beings. Then this text, I think today we are going to start the verse 7. Before now the main topic start here. After verse 7. Before the verse 7, then they talk about the general, how the Bodhisattvas deal with the attachment, angry, jealous, and how we deal for their kind of negative karmas or ignorance. Basically, before that, we have to also explain for all the Buddhism or Buddha's teachings for three principles. And we need a little bit to understand or a little bit explain. But usually all of you know, anybody listen or reading many books, they can know. Basically, above that, even the Bodhisattvas ask, same is true born the samsara. When we follow or we when you use the ignorance, try to anger them, they can harm for us. If bodhisattvas, if they can also see, follow, the attachment, anger, but they cannot harm to the bodhisattvas, because bodhisattvas harm or destroy for all them. Does it make sense? The peacock is the poison. Poison doesn't harm the peacock. Even the poison makes the peacocks more colors, more bright. Bright. Then, do you know kada? I don't know. Kada means
Crow.
crow. Crow, he is the poison. Poison harmed for the crow, because the crow has not ability to kill or
Digest
the
poison.
The same as us. If we follow the attachment, anger, jealous, then they can harm for us. We are not powerful. They are more powerful, We always follow them, right? The Bodhisattva was not that. They know the false attachment, angry, jealous, most that. They know the false. If you follow them, then they doesn't follow. They distort all them. It makes sense? I don't know, maybe I didn't say correctly. But maybe you guys just guess. Oh, okay, we talk about that. Kaji, tanda ta tiringa to sholo ka damban kon mare sro. Ta ndi ngela ya ani shatang ta shangju samba su nyumo tusum da ta jende de tsa da. Ta ngarang su ta tela longsho ba na ani kare no yo tikula. Ta songa imbares ningela.
Well, so up to the verse 7 is talking about how the bodhisattvas can transform their delusions, their attachment, anger, and so forth, and into a branch or a tool to benefit other sentient beings. Whereas if we were to generate those delusions in our mind, then that will harm us because we are not able to control the delusion. The delusion controls us, so we'll just follow the delusions and do whatever the delusions tells us to do. And that way, we may fall into the lower realms. Whereas the bodhisattvas, they have full control over the delusions, so they can transform, they can use the delusions to benefit others. So before this, actually, we should have gone through the explanation or discussion about the Guru devotion, about the Prophet human rebirth, the death and impermanence, and karmic law of cause and effect, so forth. So roughly, we should have already discussed about that. So based on the understanding of those common parts, then we can study this text.
다 신이에서 개침벌에서 가르서나 신이 야보지나 그 남과 야보지 튀기러 와서 대 야보이면은 그 남과 노조에 튀러 와서 다고 야보래서.
So devoting to a perfect, proper guru is very important. A qualified guru is very important because if you devote or follow the proper qualified guru, then he will or she will take you to the right path. And if you follow the wrong guru, who is not fully qualified, and then he or she may take you into wrong path. So teacher is very important at the beginning. First, it is important to search for the teacher, a proper qualified teacher. So once you have found the teacher, then you should rely on him or her, and then after that, then you engage in the practice that is taught by the guru, on the Prophet human rebirth, the death and impermanence, and so forth. So this text explains a lot about the karmic law of cause and effect, the karma, especially the results, the cause created, the cause that was created, for one to experience this result and so forth, and of course explains about the deeds of the bodhisattvas. And so from here, then it starts the instruction teachings on bodhicitta. That since there are two kinds of bodhicitta, like the conventional bodhicitta and ultimate bodhicitta, so it first starts with the conventional bodhicitta. So the bodhicitta, the mind of enlightenment, is very, very beneficial. If one generates the bodhicitta, then it can benefit oneself and others a lot. And so in the commentary on bodhicitta, it said that without a bodhicitta, there's no way you can achieve enlightenment. And without a bodhicitta, there's no way you can benefit others. And also in the Precious Garland, it says if one wishes to achieve enlightenment, then the root of achieving enlightenment is bodhicitta. And so from the moment you have generated bodhicitta, then you become a worthy object of veneration by all the human and gods. So no matter who you are, whether you are male or female, sharp faculty, dull faculty, good looking, bad looking, whatever you are, once you have generated bodhicitta, then you become an object of veneration by all the human and God. And just by generating bodhicitta, you purify all these negative karmas created since beginner's time, and will not create any more negative karmas. So once you have generated bodhicitta, you will not create any more negative karmas.
Okay,
and so, once you have generated bodhicitta, then you are happy all the time. You're comfortable and happy all the time. Even if you're sitting, you're happy. Even if you're walking, you're happy. So whatever you do, if you have generated bodhicitta, then you're always happy.
Usually, I don't know all the place or not. Some place, when they got married, they say, okay, now I start to live a happy life. I start to my life.
So usually people said, when you are married, then you said, now I'm settled, right? So my life has started, and my life will be all good now. I'm married, I'm settled, right? But from the Dharma point of view, that's when you start, your life of miserables.
Dharma, okay? I'm not
Gary is not accepting
it. Dharma, because there are more problems, more challenges you have to go deal, But anyway, kanji shanju seems that the kadi jela chewa yena, tangoni chine chingo dene dengo dane go so embarrass.
And so the actual, the settlement, actual happiness, starts when you have generated bodhicitta. So like I said, and once you have generated bodhicitta, whatever you do, you'll be happy all the time.
Tanda ane tanda. Yadi chimbo shewalega ane shunju shewana songar was. Kawatamara gonza baya thong den den pemba zis. takkawa padame bala kale jamne chi jego shangshub semde ta nele ya nele charge me bada ta thongon ji zipare sa no bro.
So, like it is said in Guide to the Buddhist Way of Life, that this bodhicitta, which is generated, by working hard for many eons, and so Buddhas have, seen that there is nothing more beneficial than this.
Teredan dada tsemi karo, dan tsemi jewa namji jena chi. Dencho dalonji da dobra shas ta tsing gamandere. Kanje tsemi jewa namji da ranji je jela jega shigare. Tela tene ene dewan chok dalonji da drop kare sa no ta. Tena no tere.
And so, it's just a valid person, a valid people. A valid person means somebody who have studied, practiced, and generated the realizations of the path will generate that, and that will become the cause to achieve enlightenment.
Okay. Tende da ta shanju ko sem ta shira ga ta chembo ke chembo nega chembo shira imbara ta tende ma ani shanju ko sem ba do nyamne che tang da ta tende ma go to yong ko ro.
And so, therefore, bodhicitta is a very sacred, very important, very precious, and very beneficial. So, this is where it starts now, the explanation on bodhicitta.
Tende kale khao ti ta ngandu che kale khao shira ire ngandu ta ngandu te nyamne che kale khao shira res.
So, it is very difficult, for ordinary beings like ourselves, to generate bodhicitta.
Shanju ko sem che se na ngaran su ji lo kare ji sem che shanju se ngol pa ta rogo ire.
And so, one part of our mind, when we generate bodhicitta, one part of our mind has to become bodhicitta, and it has to turn into that mind of altruism.
Kana ngaju jilan decha che se kare ngaran su ji lo kare ji decha ngol pa chen ro ra sen decha che na.
So just like when we generate attachment, our part of our mind, turns into the mind of attachment.
Decha da khoro ji kha ro pena lo kha jan jan dong don decha che da ko lo kha jan dong ngan du ta lo ma bu shira yo res.
So there are many different kind of minds in our continuum. There are many different kind of minds. Like attachment is a kind of mind, and anger is a kind of mind, and jealousy. These are all minds, but they're all different minds.
Pena ame jela pugun de lo jera ba tindri pugun de lo ta amala pugun mai hula tindri lo te yo marwas.
So, for example, like the mother will have attachment, towards the child, right? The mind that cares about the child, the part of the mind of the mother that cares about the child. So that mind, caring about the child was not there before the child was born, right?
Ro. Tindri ba da kanje shanju ko sem do ni je da shamba se de kane na wa chi nima chi ton mare susu je chi ta lo ji tingola pa rogo res.
And so there is the same, with the mind of enlightenment, a mind of compassion, mind of love and affectionate love and so forth. All this mind is a different kind of mind. So there is this part of the mind in our continuum that has to transform or change into that mind.
Tende tende shanju sem se ta lo kane ra je na semche thamju ge da ta sanje kompa topra sho nyamba do semche thamju ge tanda dru nyambe ta tende samlo shi tende shiba yu susu je ke go res.
So the bodhicitta is a mind, it's a mind. What kind of mind it is? It's a kind of mind that wishes to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. That thinks, though, I must achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. So that mind that thinks like that.
But tanda ngadu je randa jeni china ran che ba yen yawa to samna yen da pa ju sha da ndo shanju se na randa jeni no de yen che wan de logic ta go res.
So right now we are cherishing ourselves more than we cherish others, right? And so when you have bodhicitta, then it has to be a mind that cherishes others more than oneself.
Ro tinde da ta tinde ni je se de shanju sem de che wala ani che ta man ra ni yo ba res ro.
So to generate the kind of mind of enlightenment or bodhicitta, there are two different ways.
Tinde da tela ya jinde menga de ni ko ni che ta che da ani da ja ni je ko ni che ta man ra ni yo ba res.
So the two way of generating bodhicitta is either through the sevenfold cause and effect instruction, or through equalizing and exchanging self with others.
아니 다 아니 다 조지 받아야 되자 별로 되게 공부만 손다 치면서 아니 진짜면 안 되니까 손도 소치는 손거래서 아니 샤조선 봐 자세지 뭐 샤왈에 숨어지나 다시니 지고네 다 제대로 손으로 손아 이제 다 네가 샤조선에 제가 답시로 말해서
So Lama Disha, when he came to Tibet and taught the teachings on how to generate bodhicitta, then he followed that the instruction, the sevenfold cause and effect instruction, to generate bodhicitta. And according to the instruction taught by the great Bodhisattva Shantideva, it is taught to generate bodhicitta through equalizing and exchanging self with others. So either way, they both are instruction to generate bodhicittas.
어들이 딘디 바인자 다 딘디가 샤지고 셈세데 다 gelajewala 다 진짜면은 대세 되는 로고 요래서 와.
So in order to generate the bodhicitta, so you have to have gone through the sevenfold cause and effect instructions.
아니 빼나 셈제 담조 수수 마셰뇨 시바고 그래다 시바 셰뇨 시바세요. 그래서
So the first one, the first of the sevenfold cause and effect instruction. So there are first six causes, and then the seventh one is the effect, right, the result. And so first, the sixth cause. The first one is the recognition of all sentient beings as one's mother.
딘디 시에 요래 딘디 또 요래 와서는 저도 저바는 저도 갈라왔다.
Is it possible to recognize all sentient beings as one's mother?
당가도 남비가 당가도 뭐가 가서 미개월로 도마요 말씀을 하고 그래서
So then for that you have to understand that there is no beginning of life, right?
오케이. 근데 이다 다 셈지 담정가도 바마 셴용와서 가도 셈지가 말이라고요 말다. 대주도 고알로 마줘서 셴용와래서.
So then because there's no beginning of life, there was life before this life, and then there's life before that life, and then there's no beginning. So during all these times there have been a mother, right? And so there isn't any sentient beings that you can point and say this has not been my mother.
배낭 알아서 강가 전소 강가 티네이저 셴용와 또 별로 저도 제 나도 제로 티네이저 셴용와 단다 되더라고.
So in this life you can recognize that you can gain the understanding, you can generate that understanding that you have been a teenager in this life, right?
그렇어. 나 단다 전도 티네이저 말아와.
But you're not teenager now, right?
얘나 저도 티네이저 셴용와 또 별로들로 된들로 로시 말아와서 다다고 레데로.
So having the mind that knows that you have been a teenager, that mind is a valid mind, right?
그래서 어디지 무슨 제 영화들이 가을 맞아 빼나 글쎄 샘진 탐주 수수 마제 영화들은 수수 말이 달라고요 말이죠. 근데
So it's not not saying that they have been your mother, but they are not mother of this life, right?
빼나 자수절라 빼나 나 주저 아마 제 영화 또 불러 봐요. 자수절라 나 아마 자수 아마 임바도 불러요 말와.
So you understand the difference, right? So being a mother, having been a mother, and being a mother, right?
Different, right?
So all sentient beings have been your mother, but all sentient beings are not your mother, right?
대학고 걸면서 대바랑 가서 가르치지 못하고 그래. 대단하네. 저런 게 좋아도 저런 거 아마리 봤어. 저런 게 재미도 안 봤는데 그걸 릭받 넣은 걸 봤어.
So that's pretty clear, right? There's no doubt about that, right? So if somebody says, oh, such and such been my mother, doesn't mean that person is your mother right now, right? So
Okay.
I mean, in Tibetan, sometimes people may misunderstand that, right? So they say, oh, being mother means is mother, So that's a different, right? So they have been your mother, but they're not your mother. So if they are your mother, if they are not my mother, if they are my mother, then because they have been my mother, therefore they are my mother. You can't say like that, right? That's not a valid reason. If that is so, then you have to say, your husband is your mother and your son is your mother, because they have been your mother, right? At some point.
Okay. 그래서 나도 남비 주 세대다 릭박 째네. 대련도도 문다 릭박 다시네. 그걸 좀 캐는 말이지.
And so you have to, debate in that way, analyze, reasoning. So use the reasonings, to prove that, yes, it is true that they have been my mother, but they are not my mother.
그래서 그래서 단단 게 지라 지나서 ngechi pena chanasu ta chasa nge ma che nyuwa de samde waina ta nge ngal puyo mara che manyo ngal puyo me was tene da che nyuwa de ko tengyo swa che manyo da nga pum kardo da japte me waina 아니 제녀와다 잡대 미야라.
이나 잔주 숨기도 근데 서서 말에 삼선데 다 숙충부대 되는 깨고 거다.
그때 깨고
깨고 제녀 말다. 제녀서는 또 거야. 지금 시다데 숙매고 차려라. 이게 아마래 이게 아마다 보지도 어때든 이게 아마래 삼선되는 거다. 근데 삼선도 숙충부 중요하나? 근데 그거 봐야다. 노바치 하단데 삼을 깨고 말아. 이네 인주도 말다. 다서 아마도 말다. 이나 등에 아마래 삼선도 숙충부 깨고 거다.
당보라도 이거
근데 로도 고고. 대마야 즉 당보란데 가샤네.
당모 콘도 다니 도바다지. 아니 다 당모도 많이
말에는 지당가도 진 가서 인지게 라도 근데 더 봐요 말해. 라 제용마다 제 레스야 되 가사들 오늘 배도 가.
배도 가라.
그래.
오다 간지 딘리게 다 섬지가 강해. 제용화 시빌로 딱 뭐를 깨고 그래서 단지 상주 샘세 야보 깨라 띵해라.
So usually, it is actually it's more beneficial. If you can think that this is my mother. So like, of course, it's not your mother, but you have to have that kind of strong feeling, thinking that this is my mother. If you see a bug, oh, this is my mother, because this has been my mother, like that. So if you have that kind of strong feeling, that just to get that feeling, that this person is, this being is my mother. Of course, logically, it's not your mother at this time, but it's been your mother. So, and therefore it is similar, to the mother of this life. So same as mother of this life, just like my mother in this life, So you have to have that kind of strong feeling. But sometimes in Tibetan, when we talk about being mother and, mother at this time, it can be very similar. But in English, quite clear, right? It's having been your mother is different from your mother now, right?
다 많이 받더니 시빌로 째타와이나 근데 다 네 마탄데 마당을 가리치고다 다 근데 sem지강을 가리치고에서 레삼로 째고 그래서
and so just like because they have been your mother, and so at the time when they have been your mother, they have been equally kind as the mother of this life. So therefore you have to have this recognition of all sentient beings as your mother.
마시지 근데 다 마시던데 다 저서 다 가리치고에서 다 받아 전신대로 다 전에 롱대로 째고 그래서
And so you think of all sentient beings just as your mother of this life, because they're all my mother, like that. If you think like that, and then you will think about their kindnesses, right? Then you think about their kindnesses, how they have been very kind to you, at the time when they've been your mother.
아니 되네 다 영어 샴바 아니 다 간가이 간에 공로서 지고 명에 가지 옛도 공화 다 동안들잖아 좀 하루 냐별로 째고 그래서
And when you think about their kindness, and then you will think about repaying the kindness.
So 대화도 좀 알았어.
repaying the kindness. Excuse me. Repaying the kindness, and then when you want to repay the kindness, then you see all these sentient beings that you want to repay because they have been very kind to you, and then you naturally have that love towards them, and you will have that love towards them, and when you have when that love comes from seeing them as very beautiful, attractive to you, right? And so that affectionate love comes, which is wishing them to be happy all the time.
다 된데라 샴바치 되니 다 동화다잖아 좀 하루 되니 대화도 된다 좀 샴바치 다 나도 동화를 맞다 동화다잖아 좀 하루 다 동화에 나와도 말들 아니 이제로.
And then you see them, you see them and want them to be happy. And then on the other side, then you want them to be free from the suffering. So that mind wishing them to be free from suffering is compassion.
대질라고 다 동화다 잡아대고 다 나랑 샤고도 내 제국도 삼별들 다 라섬스로.
And then you wish them to be happy, right? So you wish them to be free from suffering. And it says how wonderful it will be if they are free from suffering. How wonderful it will be if they are possessed with all the happinesses. And so that kind of mind. And so that's good, but that's not good enough, right? Just to have that mind is good enough, not good enough. So and then you says, oh, I myself will do something to make them happy, to make them free from sufferings. And so you take the responsibility upon yourself, to take that responsibility, take that burden, to free them from sufferings and to possess them with all the happinesses. And that's called a special or superior intention.
다 드네지다로 다 내체고도 나랑한테 니바 문두스다 선정한 대화다 대화 대한 니바 문두 다 가지나 대대가 치도 산제 공부도 모두 산제 공부도 제도도 아니 다 샘제답니다 산제 공부도 쇼 님별로데 jel라 심하면 제타와나 다 상주점 제어레스.
And then you see whether you are able to do that or not. You know, whether you are able to free them all from the sufferings, or whether you are able to give them all the happinesses they need. And then upon seeing that you don't have that power right now, and then you search who has that power. So the only person, or only being who has that power is a fully enlightened being, a Buddha. You know, and so in order to benefit all sentient beings, to be free from, to help them to be free from suffering and to help them to have happiness, I must become enlightened myself first. So then that mind wanting to become enlightened in order to benefit sentient beings, in order to free them from suffering, in order to bring them to happiness, so that mind is called bodhicitta.
Okay. 대다 라다 제니다 젠토 좀 로진 바래 상주 삼사다 다 대절라 제도나 아니 다 뭐니 진이 증거 것도 그래서.
And so the bodhicitta is a mind that wishes others to be happy, that cares others more than oneself. And and so once one have generated bodhicitta, then one becomes happy all the time.
만두절라 나라다 나랑기 다 년년대 침대소 대오지 쇼나 삼블로딩 가서 그때는 계획도 와서 그때는 담보 소소치 이미야. 아니 소소니 집부 대오쇼 나 삼블로시. 아니 다다 두샤 쇼나 삼블로 마지나 다 야쇼나 오라와 마지나 그 대화도 담아도 되게 말아왔어.
And so in our case we always think about ourselves first, right? Ourselves, and then the people close to ourselves, like one's family, our friends, our relatives, and our neighbors, and all these things. So we always think about so people that are close to ourselves, and people who are far away from us, or people who are like our enemies. To them we never think about them. We never want to wish them to be happy. It would be just good if we don't think about causing any harm to them. Let alone having a good thought for them, and not having just a bad thought would be good enough.
그러다 안에 자세히 뭐 셔발에 그랬다. 직된 나가도 다 대화 진이지 봐. 가네요 강가 안에 대근 제 대화도 별로 들었던 쇼마레스. 직대나 동화 강요 받아 강가 대가 다 대화도 별로 들을 쇼마레스 다 요르서. 직대 대화 진이 봐 대가 젠데 들으셔. 직대 동화 진이 봐 대근 다데 들으셔.
And so also, Shantideva said in his Guide to the Buddhist Way of Life that all the happiness in this world, comes from wishing others to be happy, and all the sufferings and all the troubles in this world, comes from wishing oneself to be happy.
근데도 다 근데 나도질라 동아 때 된가 주스나 다 나도질라 다 진짜 길로세 되레스 나도야 다나 삼들로도 와서 나 집안도 별로시.
And so it's a self-cherishing attitude, and then the mind that cherishes others, is the root, is the cause of all the happinesses in this world, and the mind that cherishes oneself, is the root of all the troubles, all the sufferings in this world. So now we'll start from the verse 7. So now you know what is the mind of enlightenment, right? What is the bodhicitta? What kind of mind is called bodhicitta?
You guys got it? Huh? You got it?
I just want to clarify, you said there's two ways to generate bodhicitta,
Yeah.
equalizing and then a sevenfold cause and effect. Is it possible to generate bodhicitta on the equalizing, exchanging, if you meditate on just that without the sevenfold?
대나가 맛이 든데 투소 손으로 영어셔 봐 놓고 그랬어. 드네 간선으로 먹어 된 거였어. 이진도다 맛이 든데 투소 영어셔 봐 신도 드네 다냐 이걸로 해요. 냐를 대 대전도가 맞지 봐래. 다시 냠지걸로 줘야 돼요.
So either way, you have both of them. Generally, it's just there's emphasizing one more than other, but actually includes both of them. It's just saying mainly you do this, but doesn't mean you don't do that at all. You do both of them.
좋아.
So when you do the equalizing action with others, you do also sevenfold cause of instruction. So you have to recognize all sentient beings as mother. Without that, there's no way you can think about repaying their kindness. Right? Without that, you will not think about their kindness. Without that, you will not think about repairing their kindness. Without that, you will not think about taking responsibility to free them from happiness, suffering, and bring them to the state of happiness. So you will not have that thoughts. So that's why it's important to have that. So like recognize all sentient beings as mother, remember their kindness, wishing to repay their kindness. That has to go, even if you're even if you're emphasizing on the practice of equalizing and exchanging self with others.
Okay. 다 저도 상집 세대 매직 가능한 저도 로 가능한 건가?
So what kind of mind is called bodhicitta?
Can you say?
Mind that wishes for achieving enlightenment, to benefit all beings.
What kind we call the compassion?
Mind that wishes others to be free from suffering.
No. Okay, everybody heard? Even if we cannot that is was.
So even if you haven't generated that in your mind, but at least you have to know intellectually what is that, right?
What is it? 다 알아서 단단 알아서 고아는 거대. 나도 대서 나도 제대로 고아라고 그래서 고아. 나도 다 단단 알아서 내서 그러면 나도 딱 그러 샤워서 그러면 제대로 고아래서.
So right now we are born in cycle existent, right?
근데 다 밴드 다나 라마메 방 고아에 다던데 봐 되지 포냐데 라도 쩐도 대다 파탈라 이제도 까시 다들 라마를 샤세 다 주로 갔던 바도 준대서.
And so in the verse 7, right, it says the ego clinging of the helpless wanderer in cyclic existence is the messenger of the devil. And distance yourself from the sever of selfishness and hedonism and willingly embrace hardship for the sake of others.
그래서 다 나도 단단한 고아를 제단 내가 가서 제다들은 고아세게 내가 라마메 방 고아래서 나도 라마에 말까지 내가 제용 말해서 봐.
And so it says helpless wanderer in cyclic existence, right? And so we are, we don't have any control. We are very helpless. We don't have any control. Without any control, we are born here, in cyclic existence.
같이 가도 버째나 부모제나 소소 내나 만드나 같이 가도 다 라마메 방 가도 될 개와래서 봐.
And so, what we want to be born as is not in our hand. Also, right? So whether we want to be born as male or whether we want to be born as female, or what kind of rebirth we want to have, human being or animals, all these things, we have no choice, right? So it's determined by all determined by our karmas.
안데 지게다 쳔보다 남바야보다 남바도 저 가능하도 라와이 말까지 내 그런 게 다저 레스나 다절 절토래 저 그런 거 제용 말해서 봐.
So same with the status, like we want to be rich or famous and and high esteem and so forth, or beautiful and glamorous and so forth, all these things, So even if we want or we don't want, it's not in our hand. Some people they work so hard, no matter how hard they work, they don't get it. Some people they don't want, but they naturally get it. So it all depends on the karma, the cost that they have created in the past.
근데 이제 다 나도 내가 제와나 다 나도 내 지고 되버지는데 그러는데 딱그 자리고 싫으면 누가 가디 나가도 지 담아도 하잖아 고스도 와.
And then once when we are born in cycle existence, we are never in ease, in comfortable situation, right? It's always there's some kind of problem, no matter where you are. Even if you're in high or low, there's always some kind of problem.
Right? Are you guys comfortable? Comfortable so what? Everything's fun? If you're fun today, then maybe tomorrow, only okay that evening something, then always some, of course we have not big problem, but anyway, we have always situation, right? 근데 이제 다 나도 된리가 같이 지고 메사가 내던 코와드에서 라마메방 코와드 다 시치와레스 다 정해서 서서나 다던데 봐 되지 다 다던데 봐 되세 다 내려서 다던데 봐 되지 보냐데스.
And so anyway, so it says that the messenger of the devil, so that's referring to the ego clinging, clinging to the ego, clinging to the ego. That is the main cause, that's causing us to wander in cycle existence.
그러와 아니 라 소소 내봐도 소소 끼봐 너딩게 되니가 어떻게 다 듣지 보냐 되가 다 가디나 소소 쭈부 삼대바다 다 되게 찌연치네 라마방 코와든 코와레세 그러와.
And so if we follow that mind, ego clinging mind, then we will be wandering in cycle existence helplessly.
그래서 다 된리가 그 정말 지는 것도 지와다 다 지고 뭐도 되고 매완자 다 된리가 다 아랑 주보 대원도 로다 파 매와서네 다 젠지던데 다 가리자기 가리치거든 제기 예사로 다 고트레 리드로 잡나 된다래 데레스.
And so it's because of this selfishness and the hedonism. So distance yourself, or sever, or distance yourself, from this mind of selfishness and hedonism, and willingly embrace hardship for the sake of others. So go through any kind of difficulties, to benefit others.
그래서 만족을 대접 조절해. 안 만족이랑 난 밀로 때라 때는 걸 동아모 용도 삼밀 다 용그레스야 된 것도 접도 저래 좀 켈렌도 저래.
And so is it possible to come to understand that the ego clinging, or thinking of oneself all the time, is the cause of all these sufferings, all the problems that we have? Is it possible to understand that or accept that?
Yeah. No, not most problem. No, some problem, there also conditions that do. Shadang is she and 강에도. tamam tak baji macha baji all reya ro tambon gosadi ta dad ba da suzu chibo nzi be suzu jila ta nganzi melo de pudra yo batala ten yongwa imba chu ngun ta ngun ro che to sare bes.
So yes, basically it's that mind, the ego clinging mind, that is the cause of all the sufferings. But of course, there's the upfront. There are some other minds in the front, and then there's the conditions and all these things that also has to come through. But without that mind, none of these sufferings will come.
야 간돌로 미지게 강게 태워나 뭐데 강게 태웠대 야티 파줘왔대 소주 간데 뒤에 왔지는 간돌로 강게 태운 거였어.
And so sometimes it's true that some people give us hard time, right? And so it's just, we say, this person gave us hard time. Yeah? But it's also, also it's our karma, our negative karma that we have created, that's making us. The person who's giving us is like just a condition for us to experience. But then again, that person also is giving hard time to us is also under the control of his, ego clinging.
당한돈 삼점 저와쇼근도 와. 간주 다 저서 조보 조면나 남이나 간주 바로 봐도 저와쇼근도 저도 저와쇼여래 봐. 다 가서로 가지.
쇼그라.
쇼그라 와서. 근데도 담보 싸워도 가와도 근데 야만나 게 싸마데 제마송스. 야만나 게 라야다 따따 켈레 마소세도. 간주 따데 통도도 와서.
So when we have argument with somebody or when we get into fight with somebody, what is the reason for that? Right? So it's all because of the ego clinging, right? It's just, he didn't do this because he didn't do that like I want. He didn't say the way like I wanted, and also always sort of, there's the I, grasping at the I that causes one to get into fight or get into argument with other people.
그래서 당한돈도 간주 라마메방 코와 중에도 설나 다도 좀 받더리세. 당한주 콩 못하고 그래서 와.
And so we have to recognize that it is this ego clinging, or the self-grasping ignorance, and that is causing us to wander in cycles helplessly.
그디는 이 걔네 봐나 나라잖아 나라데나 따삼비로 따대 땅도 자로들이 따대 파자네 다젠 니 가와 다젠이던데 가시 땅들 랭기 예세메 로 깨고 이래서 와.
And so the mind that thinks, I want to be happy, I want to and have the gain, and I don't want to have the lose. And so that mind that thinks about oneself all the time, is the cause of all these sufferings. And so therefore we should distance that mind, put away that mind, and we should embrace the hardship or the difficulties to work for the benefit of others. So by thinking about the benefits of benefiting others, and you think of benefiting others no matter how difficult it is.
근데 다운데도 손을 근데 다 감당 안 좋은 고발랑 코 중에 근데 서리세 봐이나 근데 다도 머리 받다 말해서 다 진지로 데려라고 그래서 와 나도 대장원다 사니 아니 나도 라와메 받다 고발라 고추요 그래서 와 근데 그 다도 머리 받다 많이 마치 다 진지 다친데 소소 집어들로 다 대랭 하던 고발은 그 중에도 대래서 아니 되게 딱으로 Tigo want the Jenny Tang of Raman call and call your essay, or
The cause on it.
then the tender, the Tondo, then the Tatella, Dada, Dutchiponias, Dusadi, Donatella Dulagris, De Lago, Tenig down the ranch by the Vichin that is. She thought down the Mores, a ranch by the Vichin. What tell a Dulagris?
So in this context, the self-grasping, the ego clinging is not the self-grasping ignorance, not grasping at the self, grasping at the self as existing from its own. So not that kind of ego clinging. So here it is talking about the mind that thinks about oneself all the time, the selfish mind, right? The selfishness. So it is is referring to that, and so it's saying that is the root of all the causes that causes one to wander in cycle existence.
What is that? Teda ane dandani ta chiro chito somala tene ane ngadon kowan kochu yereterwa.
And so there is a self-cherishing attitude, and there's a self-grasping ignorance. So these two, complementing each other, helping each other. So these two, by helping each other, and makes us, to wander in cycle existence.
What is that? Dandala ane ponya dachi de ane karo dandala da chindu ponya serwa da chindu da dandini ta ganji chiro chito somala tene nanzo ta tomame ta deba ta kowalan gochu wa re ramame ba ta kuni jamant chesomares.
And so because of these two in our mind, and we been wandering in cycle existence since beginning of lifetime.
Tende yeda ta ane ra chindu da ra dendo lo de pa mewa so ne rawa ane ra ko da chindu da teni ga wan da ma ta wa ta yenji tenda ta kale kadi jagana te tan da lang yes ga je troje den ju ba sha go re se no yoro.
And so seeing that all this trouble, all these problems, and making us wander in cycle existence is because of this self-cherishing attitude. So now we should give up the self-cherishing attitude and think about cherishing others, think about helping others, and so willingly go through any kind of hardships to benefit others.
Tene da yen chindu de ane chindu la da chindu yen chindu ni wa chirwa ane ra chindu da yen chindu ni ma ta ra chindu se te ane ngaro so jela kele la wo yimba ane pa kale ka wo yimba ane te jawon chinda ane ngaro tan ko wa thoma me de ane ko chu yo res ne yen chindu se jela che wa yena te che kale ka wo shira pa kale ka wo shira res ta karo che kale ka wo te che wa yena ane ta ngaro tene dewa toyagi ta karo lamna do yo se ko mare.
And so the self-cherishing attitude and mind that cherishes others. And so self-cherishing attitude, that has been with us since beginning of lifetime. It is very difficult, for us to get rid of it. And so we have to make a lot of effort, to engage in the practice, to abandon, to get rid of that mind. And whereas the cherishing other, it's very difficult to generate because we never had that thought in the past. So it is something that we are not used to, we are not accustomed with, and it's something that new that we have to generate. So therefore, it is very difficult. But we are, but we have to work very hard. No matter how difficult it is, we have to work hard to generate that. Once we have generated that, then that will be all. And everything will become very good after that. Once we have generated the mind that cherishes others, that thinks about, that cares about others, or that thinks about others.
And the Lama Chibana was Rani Chibran de Chonanda, Manda Dumur Chivi Gentone. Langin de la Condo to Jet, down the Dojo Hero. Oh, that is Makaje, Rani Chibran de Lodita, Jonesena, that Nasa Duja try Mega Nasa, Tikanga swing in the Labros, Jones said. The Duja is.
And so, just like it is said in the Guru Puja, so this chronic disease, the self-cherishing attitude. So self-cherishing attitude is like the chronic disease, It's a very old disease, which is very difficult to, get rid of, get cured. And so the self-cherishing attitude is like that. So by seeing that self-cherishing attitude, the chronic disease, as the cause, of all the undesirable, sufferings.
Oh, Tendi, but Tangan Jitena, Chita, Namju Kadina, mus rashi tsawo jivana, and Mudangazo Mutted Majimba Sudan and Yamdo Kale Keshigana Chik, Tokalakosho was. Yam Rashi Chara, Mengi Jimbaina, Yamikagan Tuni on the war. Trinidata Rani Chinte called to Jaimbe. But the general Marve.
So some people who always help others and care about others, and always smiling, nice, then that person will get along with other people, right? And somebody who's always thinking about oneself, thinking about oneself, and always have this serious or angry face all the time, then people will not like that kind of person, will not come to that person. So it's it's just by that you can see that self-cherishing attitude is the one that brings all the sufferings, all the problems, and the cherishing other is the one that brings happiness to oneself and all others. So you have encountered some people like that, right? Who always think about themselves, and they only think that whatever they do or whatever they say is correct, and other people are all wrong, and something like that, right?
You have met that kind of person? If some people, they'll just accept whatever they say, whatever they do, this is a perfect way, Those kind of person also more difficult, more suffering for the, deal with other people, correct? Because everybody cannot do whatever he wants, whatever he or she want. Therefore, he has more problem. If some people doesn't care much, he say, it's okay, just more quiet, more relaxed. Then more relaxed, because he doesn't always think about whatever I say, whatever I think. We can logically think. We not just follow the text. We logically what text say, it makes sense or not. It not make sense. They say we can say goodbye Buddhism. It's not make sense. It makes sense. Then we can also more checking, more investigation. Then there is and 다다 옌이가는데 옌데 그래 따지완적으로 대소와나는 대화소설을 용어를 해들어.
And so one should cherish others and oneself, others more than oneself. If one does that, then oneself will be more happy.
근데 이다 아니 쇼진아 여러다 강아식 다다 옌다는 녀다 잡은 도바나 아니 다다 옌의 제자시 상회 담바 때문에 샤스 다 저런 거 다다진이 옌 야고 좁고도 제사바이나 아니 다다진이 바제네 아니 다 상백이 냠내도 다 같이 냠내도 제거를 해서 그러와.
So in the guide to the Buddhist way of life, said that if you want to, subdue others, and benefit oneself, then you should exchange yourself with others, and then train your mind to cherish others in that way.
다 쇼로가 제와데가 다 나눠서 된지가 다도 말이 받텔라 때네 다 레지왕게 있어. 아니 레진 대신 용모 공부해 런데 제가 남지 동학금 견도 나거든다 보면 샤스로 아니 다 레지왕가 가지 다 나도 동안 마보 다 영도 왔어 용모 공부왕가 다들이 동안 냐나 거래 용고한테 다 링터 소소다 링템비가 semje 간리가 동안 차서 다 소소가 다도 뒤된다 보네 다 매와칭이 있어야 그러와 이데나 올랍샤나.
And then in the verse 8 it says, "And may the suffering of all beings, who like myself are driven by their karma, and their habituation to the afflictions, be heaped upon me, the hedonist." And so now you're thinking of taking all the sufferings upon yourself, the suffering of all sentient beings, so which came upon them through their own karma, through their habituation and to the afflictions, to the delusions, and because of having created the karma, they suffer. Right? So all those sufferings that they have, they have come to encounter because of their negative karma and delusion. May all those sufferings, ripen upon me, like heap upon me.
We don't need to other suffering. That we have enough to our suffering. We have enough to our problems, right? 근데 다 둘라그러다 라자는 고와 통마면 변나 라마 뻗으면 반 참대 동안 노소지 뇽 선바 뇽 점바 근데 다 다는 네가 왕게 다 sabbe 랭바 레다 디고 저버티레스 그봐.
And all the sufferings, that we've been experiencing, we have experienced, we are experiencing in the cycle existence since beginner's time, is all because of the karma, the karma that was created by the force of the delusions.
Tenida te yembati ta nyumumba. Ranchibandwe chendata ta komri haja shichumbo yobe wangata ta yungo resro.
And so that happened, like creation of the cause, for the suffering happened because of being very, very, very strongly habituated, with the self-cherishing attitude.
Tenida ta shinshi ta tenido des. Ta sudu rindan ta ngaraso semchinga ugjato kangara tunzu jijis. Ta jega kanji dunga kanji yawana ta rankona dewan dope. Teniga loti. Ane ta kaso. Jabrando dunga tiki tinda. And
then he says, you take the sufferings of all these sentient beings, that they are experiencing since beginner's time, and take all these sufferings, upon this self-cherishing attitude. Right? So it's called and this is referring to it as a hedonist, right? The self-cherishing attitude. You throw it on the self-cherishing attitude and destroy it, by pouring, by dumping all those sufferings onto it.
What the nigga dodge ranch in the thing called Malu, take a ranch in the Koranika, Mevaso, and the Takao, Pangi said over.
And so by taking like that, then you destroy, you abandon the self-cherishing attitude.
Tanaraso, Tomamina, ranch in the Numatala, Tashu come there, take come with Tatano career, Nasrova, they should tell Lila Shira.
So we've been habituated, with this self-cherishing attitude, since beginner's time. And so what is the sign that shows that we've been very strongly habituated with that? And so, from the moment we were born, even the animals, they have this attachment, anger, ignorance, and wanting to eat others and so forth. So all this clinging and that habituation that has, shows that we're habituated with these delusions from being in this lifetime.
And they love Jom Tanga to Shigma was, Chula,
and then also, with the Dharma, we're not habituated with the Dharma, with the positive attitudes like compassion, the mind that cherishes others, and then bodhicitta, of course, and those mind we're not habituated with. So it is very difficult for us to learn them, and even if we learn them, it's very difficult to stay in our mind. We forget them very easily. And so many delusions, without having to taught, we just generate that. We just get familiar with them without even having to taught. So has anybody taught you how to be angry? Did somebody have to teach you on how to be angry? Did you go to the school for anger?
No, we don't need to read. No. Then no one say how you be jealous, how you write down to people with the harsh words. No one teach other, right? No. Just automatically we can learn that. Then how you do, how become very humble. Then we have to learn, right? You have to someone say, okay, you have to be very humble, you have to nice, all the time, parents bring the kids, then someone do something, say, yeah, you have to say, thank you. Always we have to teach it, right? Without teaching, we don't know. Same as, we are right now grow up. The parents, they really teach about us. How you say thank you, how you kind for others. Then, of course, the other things, what virtues, what's non-virtues, we have to teach. Also, we have to again listen, again and again. We have to hear again and again, read it again and again. Then makes sense. Otherwise, you listen first time, you say, what they talk about? Not make sense because we don't understand. Even you can read this book, one book, you can read maybe 10 times. You can understand 10 different ways. Because the meaning is the same. Before first time you read, you don't understand the meaning. Then second, you more understand. Third, more understand. More understand. The book doesn't change. Book stay there. Because we understand, our knowledge is change. Therefore, also Shanti Deva said, if you come na love mind, your minds.
So Shantideva said there isn't anything which doesn't become easier through familiarization.
Therefore, also study practice Buddhism, not just once or twice. Read book, usually, especially you guys, very good, I think basic, very good education. You can read any books. You say, I read once, most everybody really know. But I think Buddhism is maybe not like that. You guys also have to read couple times. For me, I have to read many times. Once, when I was studying in India, we always looking for something for debate. Every morning, evening, we have to go to debate. You guys may saw debate. We have to very serious debate. We cultivate our self-cherishing. Dance the future. We develop more
Self-cherishing attitude.
Self-cherishing attitude. They say, okay, what I said is right, you are wrong. We have to win each other. Then, even if we say it's very, very bad to the self-cherishing, but first we also develop first. What I say, what I think is right, then we look for something, the contradiction. We looking for this, just finish, finish. And then, we just looking at that. We don't just skip a lot of things. But not like that. We have to read slowly, try again, then think about, then try to, it's related for our daily.
So these teachings, whatever is explained in these teachings, whether they go along with the way we do things in our daily life.
Canada, that's the reason I can't say Suzuguchi, Tramadiwa Chasa, so Tawatati, Ranchibat Chintaturares, that thing of the two doom the tower is.
And so here basically it is saying that every problem, every suffering that we experience is because of self-cherishing attitude. And whether that's true or not, we should check, we should investigate ourselves.
Lama Chabanaya was a ranching the debakinjigo, managing the Hitinkish. I was Malalam Katule.
So in the Lama Chapa also, it says that cherishing other, is the doorway to all the happiness, and cherishing oneself is the doorway to all the sufferings. And therefore, we should train, in equalizing and in exchanging, self with others.
Lama Chapa, I don't know how many people do that. Recite the Lama Chapa. It's very good, You can, before the Lama Pare, there are 7 practice. 7 length practice. Then very, very also called deep meditation or practice for the long run. It's not too long, not too difficult to understand. The whole thing, one by one, that. The very sharp, very, anyway, meaning was there. What the name by that? Dinalaya Kardana, Mando Nyomo Kumbia Wangares, Mando Kajila that Susu Chubo, Devanda de Watenango, Taramame Pala, and the Dunganyango Kovala Chegore, and Mando Nyomo the Shoma Res, Labu was that no random Dungas Tachi Res.
And so, just like it is said in here, all the sufferings that we experience is all because of our own karma, because of the delusions, and because of self-cherishing attitude. And so, whether it's really true or not, then we should check, about that.
What? The Tati Sholoka Javat, Tagawate, Kate Rando, Trova Shubit says, Dollar Ranga Deche, Janabjan, chata dollar. Yenji lot of Ranga Eva, Nishi, near two drums. That's it, Tombo de Nigardana, Kadi, Shanju Sambasutan, here, Lower in the Gadian, Numo, Come de Wayeda, T1 girls, done Chene, and a Tendigo and Chowad Shua in Naya, Titineta, Suzu Padobaj in the New Model Part Tone, and the Suzu de Jana.
And so in the verse 9, it says, when I become enmeshed in selfishness, I will offer my own happiness to living beings so as to counteract it. In the same way, should a companion be ungrateful to me, I will be content in knowing that this is retribution for my own inconstancy.
What the Tambo de Takates and the Shanjo Samba Gashing and Lola de Ta Numo Conde was a tea combe wanji, Ta in Troa Shipe, Ta Numo, Jawan and Rodo of Cheva in a young, Shansam Tenechi, Tamata Te Done, and Ranga de Cheso, Jonathan Ganji, Ta Genji Duma Tan Langer and Ro.
So it says, when I become enmeshed in selfishness, I will offer my own happiness to living beings so as to counteract it. And so whenever you think about oneself, and immediately recognize that, identify that mind, and then say, oh, this is trying to come up. So in order to counteract that, then you always think about offering happiness to others. And then in this and then in the verse, in the third and fourth line, Turner talks about the karmic law of cause and effect.
Ta karna suju gasa yasa nyeza to las. Ani suju pa kaze penta wa yana tila ya chi mendebe namje da lotu chede wa yana sirwa. Chiwate ta rangi ene yewe ta jawa ngama tendiga nyomo jewa jine suju pa tende chini ta lembar esenwa.
And then it says, in the same way, should a companion be ungrateful to me? So like your friends and your family, your relatives, who you have helped so much, if they are ungrateful to you, instead of being grateful to you, if they are ungrateful to you, and then instead of becoming angry at them, saying, oh, I have done all these things, and yet they're very ungrateful. Not thinking like that. Instead of thinking like that, it says you should think that, oh, this is all because of my own negative karma that I've created in the past. It's not because of your being good to them, right? Not being, it's not the result of your good work, your help towards them. It's the result of the negative karma that you have created in the past, And so accept that, not become angry when they are ungrateful to you. And so it happens, right? And so some people, no matter how good you are to them, they always are very bad to you.
This happens sometimes. What did the Kajana and the Suzu Paya and the lot of Chevade, that Jawang Hama Suzu Majambala Patinichi, that thing David Suzu Mangi or
and so no matter how good you are to others, and if they show very ungratefulness to you, then it is the result of the negative karma that you have created by being ungrateful to others in the past.
Then that become there is some gores. That it in Loba Jangi Parobo Chuvati, Dona Matabachi, Tarangaman of the Taranga and Dendi, the Jambala Chini Tiga, and the Jen Caro, Dachindi, Jamale Jen, that Yawatova, Janapa, Nova Chiviga, then Drevayan, and that number some gores. There is a tight shell and then they get no was on a candidate. And so Susulapa, Jana never can touch, soon never can. And
so, it is very similar karma that you have created in the past, right? You've been very ungrateful to somebody who was very nice to you. And as a result, now you face the same thing. You become, even though you have been very nice to that person, but they are very ungrateful to you. And so instead of becoming angry, you should understand that oh, this is what happens, if I become ungrateful, to others. So just like I don't like to have that kind of feeling now, now I wouldn't like that kind of feeling in the future. So therefore, and I should always remember their kindness and never be ungrateful, to them like that. And so when that, when that happens, it is very easy for us to become angry towards that person. As, oh, I did this, I did that, and yet this person is so ungrateful to me. So we become, angry, and hatred might arise in our mind. But then at that time, we should think that we should, we should not, blame to the person, but blame to the karma, that one self has created in the past.
그래서 단 되게 레전 렘드 송을 단데 레레콜라 고아때면은 데 먼저 액셉트 도고 말해들어.
And so again, this is talking about the karma that we've created in the past, right? So whatever result that we experience now is all because of the karma or the cause that we have created in the past. So if we are not able to have that understanding, then it will be a little bit difficult for us to accept this.
그래봐. 나도 로조 듣기만 해요. 알아 가나다가 펜타베 레와치원 가시 그 신드머리시나 신이다 맞다면서 소주가 팔
신이다
그래봐. 신이다 맞다면서
신드머리 내지나서. 그래.
신드머리 내지나. 데려다 소주가 팔 레와 펜타베 레와치와 그 틀려야 머리베 내와드는 신나 다파 신이 된 거래서 개개로 된 가지 다타요 말했어.
And so in the 8 verses of mind training, it says that the persons to whom you have benefited a lot, and to whom you have a lot of hope, and hoping that they will help you and so forth, that kind of hope, and then if that kind of people, upon whom you have so much of hope, if they cause this unimaginable harm to you, the harm to you that you have never thought about, right? So I never thought that person would, do this such bad thing to me, that kind of unimaginable harm to you. Then you should see that person as your root guru. So that's what it says in that mind training. And again, of course, if you don't have the understanding of karma and its result and so forth, then it will be difficult to accept that.
그래서 다 가지고 단대 소수파에 가고 지가 되게 투두자 쳐야 돼. 가르쳐서나 아니 다대 소수치 레겐 레벨 생각도 하고 해요. 와서 대인 받은 도이 나라야. 레전 딱 걸려는 까와자마 치면서 소지 대란 바바는 대만만 봐야든 저러스. 아니 sem제는 다 레전 딱 걸려는 까와자서 봐야야. 아니 그 대라 바바 아니 걔는 tre와이는 대보다 많이 온 거래서. 님부터 시험에 와 있나?
Of course, it is difficult to understand at the beginning, but it makes sense, right? Whatever bad happens to us is the result of negative karma, right? Whatever good happens to us is the result of positive karma. So when something bad happens, it cannot be the result of positive karma. It cannot be the result of you being good to them, right? And so when you are very good to them and they become ungrateful to you, it's not, being there and showing not grateful to you is not the result, of being nice to them. It is the result of the negative karma that you have created in the past. So we have to understand that, and when we are able to blame to them, then we'll not think that, oh, this person is very bad. After all these things that I've done for this person, he's very ungrateful to me. Like that, we will not have that kind of feeling. And so that's why it is said in the sutra that no matter how long it has been, even if it's been like eons and eons, once the karma has created, that karma, the karma that you have created, even it has been eons and eons, it will not, disappear. It will not vanish. And as if you have not destroyed it, if you not have purified it, if you have not purified it, no matter how long it's been, it still be there. So when it meets with the condition, then it will ripen into result. And upon meeting with the result, at some point, it will ripen in the form of result.
신근 대화당 다 오면은 그 말도 들어와 던조 아니 대화매와 차요 그래서 와 오마리는 말매야당 아니 시가 딘녀가 다 그러면 맞아야 되네 대화 맞춰야 되노 만두고 레세디 다디 매와 차요 말해서 와
And so usually the fruit comes from the seed, right? The seed can be destroyed, and they say they give another example is like the butter comes from milk, right? The milk can be ruined or whatever, spoiled, right? It can rot, and so forth. It can happen, right? So if you keep it outside in the hot for a long time, then the milk will go bad, and it will not be able to produce butter. So that kind of cause can go bad and not produce result. But the karma will never go bad, will never rot, will never be spoiled. So it will always be there, unless you have purified it. It will always be there. And at some point, when it meets with the condition, then it will ripen in the form of suffering.
What the Tandang Payabo Chita meeting something on the Silla Chick Lonja Chiva the Karchesna, and the Suzu Tendi chair, no less Asha, than that 11 river is.
And so again, going back to the same point of somebody being ungrateful to us, no matter how nice we've been the person, is not the result of that good action. It's the result of the negative karma that we have created at some point in one of our previous lives.
But Tandang the Ruche, Chondo Marching, Chondo Machiko, to let us want the less Sasha.
And so also my explaining to you, and you're listening to me, is also karma. We have created karma at some point, to come together, and for one of us to speak and one of us to listen.
So the Tandelan Chunzo Ruya and the Sudan condition of gender was the letting command to Sasha in the then the Ruches are so Choroso, then Royal Nodeo, Rosaji one and the good gender or the letting one to Sasha.
So the karma is already created, the cause is already created from beginning, from long time before. But the condition, is the center, like the center, having center, setting up programs, schedules, and all these things. So all these things are conditioned. But the real cause, is the karma that we have created in the past.
The chance on the Yondo Samba in the Wate, then he let them mulum in the Yoim.
And then your wish to come here also, is a condition, and then maybe is the result of the thought that you might have had in the past.
But the little Nanzo national Shenata, Jing Shawa Kanga Tanga, legendary, and the Jedi general to Tushpa Lapu.
And so, according to Buddhism, according to the teaching, everything that happens with us in our life is all because of our karma.
What that Delma partner, Sozola Chimima Kari, Yoma, and Sokanga, Nima Suzuki Cheja, Lere, Tati, Lere, Setaka, Donamadan to Kindoeres.
And so, from here, it explains all these different kind of problems, the sickness and so forth that we face is all because of the negative karma that we created by doing such and such bad thing to others.
That you can't get that thing. I can't get Mara shown some memory. That is Suzu Chevi Lay Sabina, Suzu Semla, missing I can't take Marwa.
And so, if we are able to accept, that this is, as a result of my own negative karma, then it will not feel, very bad, will not have that kind of strong suffering, thinking that this person did it, that person did it, and so forth. So that kind of feeling will not be there, and so it will be easier, and the experience of the suffering will be less.
Okay, that didn't know it, okay.
Yeah, so we'll stop here, and if you have one or two questions, maybe we can have one or two question answers.
Also, you can read some explain to Bodhicitta,
and then you can go back home and then read books or text, on bodhicitta. Okay.
Also, go to Google. Here. Yes.
Talking about Google and stuff, we have a question that come from one of our listener online.
Really?
Yeah, it's linked to also Sunday's teaching about anger, and I have to read it. I'm sorry because it's a little long as a question, but it actually fit with the ego clenching that we have. When they were teaching on Sunday, they're saying when someone get angry at us, it's really because that other person has ignorance of the situation. And how can we... Rick is texting me at the same time, sorry. so this action stop ultimately negative karma that's happening right now because the karma is being created right now. Stop texting me. And then, so I've done there's someone texting me, it's moving, so that's very sorry. Sorry. So how do we know that the person that was actually directing anger at us is not really, it's not testing our humility, and how do we truly know that that behavior that someone else creating is not more like trying to teach us something?
Mm-hmm.
How do we truly know that the behavior in someone else is ignorance on their part and not more directly an essential teaching toward us, for us? It's hard because it's a text, but it's not very clear.
다 저기 동아 더 미션다지 먼저 컨트롤 사바나 미디 컨트롤 사이드 컨트롤 카메라 그런 이제 다음 그런 묘목이 옹 가서 묘목이 온도 주는 때는 다 컨트롤 사거든 맞아 들라고 알아서 나는 땡 맞아 또 그런 묘목도 손에 되는 컨트롤 사바이나 기 나랑도 직더 롭센테지 또 컨트롤 사 맞아 컨트롤 하고 그랬어
그래 컨트롤 사바도
먼저 롭센테지 먼저 롭센테 먼저 다음 서버 검수하시도 거기다 컨트롤 사바이나기 내가 그런 거네 그런다 그런 묘목도 손에 컨트롤 사는 것도 그래서 하고 그랬어
네네네 그 컨트롤 사이드 간돌라
그때는 먼저 케어 말아 가르 터는 컨트롤 사바이나 케어 말아 저기 다들 나라 라베지도 컨트롤 사래서 나 가서 팽겨래 나는 그런다 카메다 그런 인제다 묘목도 손에다 컨트롤 사래서 나 가서 팽겨라 그 삼단 가르 삼단나 뛰고라
네 어다티 치바랬어 간지 소주고 소바 공거를 그런 게 묘목도 성화에 나왔다 전화할 치바레스 너 저도 소소 컨트롤 마사와 소주때 바야네 말고 그랬어
So we don't know what other person's thinking when that person's showing anger to us. Is it really angry or is it pretending angry? So to teach us to be to be patient. So we don't know exactly. So either way, whichever way we think, if we can think of either way, then it's beneficial for us. And it says, this person. If we think that this person is angry. And it's cannot be blamed to that person because he's under the control of delusions. And out of delusion, out of ignorance, he's becoming angry. So he's not the really one to be blamed. So then, if you think like that, then you will not blame the person. You will not become angry towards that person. And so the main point is to not become angry. Not become yourself not become angry. And also, if you can think that this person is showing the anger, he's not really angry. He's just showing the anger to teach me. To practice patience like that. If you can think like that, that's even better, right? And so either way, if you can think in either way of that, it will be beneficial.
그래서 그 묘목 어디 영화도 성을 삼았지 같이 삼을 때 나눠서 그 공로 맞아 외치다 삼걸 맞아. 신기 말처럼 뭐지? 나도 공로 맞아 볼까? 그 공로 사도 그런 묘목 왕걸 삼아나 나도 공로 맞아 외치다 그 라고 하면서 그런 거는 가르면 가서 제치고 말했어.
So from our side, thinking that is important, So what it is from the other side doesn't matter so much to us, What we have to think from our side is important. So for our side, from our side to think that this is not really the person, that is becoming angry, it's the delusion that's causing him to become angry. So we are blaming to his delusion, and so by thinking like that, we don't become angry towards that person. And so from the person's side, why he's doing that, why he's angry, it doesn't really matter so much to us. So from our side, to think in that way, if we think in that way, then it's beneficial for us. Instead, if we think that, this person is very bad, he's doing this and that, and then we become so then it's bad for ourselves.
Okay? So those he or she, the lesson here, looking for that, no? Anyway, the main thing is, 간지 소소 공로 맞아. 소소 공로서는 좀 가는데 되게 레서. 레이딩 드라이버 양 소소 동안 거다. 되게 제대로서. 그냥 다투고 들어왔대. 내가 이제 소소 아파거든 소소에 지오매 봐. 소소 시대한 좀 들어와. 다투고 들어와 딜레서 레진 들어와 양 심어 소소 양이 와서 공로 맞아 가지고 답시레스.
So this is a means to method to not become angry. So because then we have to think why shouldn't I become angry? If I become angry, then I'll be unhappy. Right away I'll be unhappy. And then again, ultimately, then I will have more suffering, because out of anger, I may say something bad, I may do something bad, and then create a negative karma, and as a result of that negative karma, I'm going to have more suffering in the future.
Okay?
And so therefore, I should not become angry. So the main point is not to become angry.
Okay?
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you for the online.
Because I have Google I have ready. I'm holding my Google here.
Power of the internet.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Coach yours.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Just, in the West, there's a lot of mental illnesses like Alzheimer's, and there's known conditions that cause it, like something wrong in the brain, and they inherit from family members or something. But I was wondering, in terms of karma, is it known which type of negative action leads to a mental illness? Like, for example, I've heard a story like in the long run, there was somebody who blew out a candle opposite the 3 jewels. That person was reborn blind. So there's ways to know which action has its own that kind of result. I was wondering if it's known what action leads to having a mental illness like that.
No.
그거는 좀 다시고 드리려고.
그래서 이더다가 롱아 차서져라. 근데 샘기 나서져라. 샘부 타다명이 아니 삼례하고 땅 마통이 근데 지 미가 좀 따딩 되는도 나서 되는도 되는서로 대선 나서지 되는 레 가르치는 되는 거라서.
다때래 라마나소je 당가서 렌데 치는 데여서 강가 찍는 이상한 좀 거쳐 있으라 가르까 그랬어. 간지 되는 용어다 와도 지지난 엄마. 야지 간지 저날 단에 빼나지 지금. 올라온다 온 주면도 오지 서 바꿔서 지 오나 때 마파라 엄나 때 말레시아와도
대도 프랑스는 롱아사라. 재미 빠르자도 마 세월라 때네. 디 주치는 데는 제목하러 롱아 차렸어.
야지 다지 간지 다 되는 이제로 간지 야지 싸마로 해봐 제거서 맞지와. 람나소 유지로 왔어. 미세인데 내리는 거 갖고 메스.
So I don't know exactly what karma, on what kind of karma, what kind of action will have will cause one to become mentally ill. But like you said, there are many different kind of karma. So this karma can lead one to become like that. So similar to that, maybe there might be some karmas, but exactly I don't know what.
Okay, I don't know exactly. Then go to Google, maybe find. Okay, Ed.
In the situation where somebody does something that makes you angry, and we sort of understand that it's their karma and your karma, and it's the confluence of that karma. Now let's assume somebody says something that makes me angry, and I get really, really angry, but I don't do anything, and I just say, okay, you're right, I'm going away. Do you still get a bad imprint just for getting angry without doing anything? Just getting angry.
Yeah.
But then the second thing you say, okay, I'm going to be a good Buddhist, I'm going to walk away from this, I'm not going to say a word goodbye. But you still get the karmic seed from just getting angry inside your own head, like it's going to blow up. I mean, isn't that the way it is?
Yes.
You still get the seed even if you still...
Even you don't say that, you lost your peace for that.
Yeah.
Then also you put more impulse, you more...
Well, that helps you to become angry again later.
Yeah.
So because you're habituating that, right? You're familiarizing with that. And then again, it also depends on who you become angry at. If you become angry at somebody who is superior to yourself, like Bodhisattva, even if you become just angry for a second, they can destroy a lot of merit created over many years. So there are many different, many disadvantages, many harms, for becoming angry.
Going back to the question, you don't know who a Bodhisattva is.
That's right, exactly.
Therefore, try to don't angry anyone. Try to just blow. Even you angry, just blow yourself. Just don't say. If you are the person maybe Bodhisattva, then you say things also more worst. Then just blow by yourself. Then just go away. Is a little bit less. Okay.
Mine's real quick, but just to take Ed's scenario as a positive spin, could you also just rejoice and say, I'm step by step I'm learning, whereas before, had I not been engaging in the practice, then you would have taken a swing at him, or then after reading a little bit, then you would have said something, and now you're like, okay, I'm still angry, but at least I didn't say anything, and I'm minimizing. You could take it as like a positive. Do you agree? You guys agree with that or no? Not to be settled with that and say, okay, and then just take it as slowly.
그래, 뜨디그라.
된 되게 돼. 양 팅한 저도 지사만은 양 군직 대 주지라고 양 차요.
지든 쳐도 잘 말해.
다 맞아.
지든 쳐도 잘 말고 거의 야부샤디 그파 라파 마셔야 라부샤 앞으로 맞아 이제 컨도사도 라고 말아.
건도 말해. 양 소주 딱 마시고 제일 삼에 치나 양 맞아 제니가 여러
So yeah, you can rejoice in not hitting at somebody, but you're still becoming angry. So
I agree with
you
that.
should still work on that. So there's nothing to rejoice about that, right? So towards becoming angry, you're still there, But less angry, yes, that's good. And less angry is good, and not retaliating is even better, right? So that part you can really rejoice, yes.
Okay. Yes, now yours. Yes, you can.
So at that moment, if I'm encountering somebody that's angry at me, is a point to just be neutral and send kindness and compassion during that time, that moment? And how do you dissolve that?
다들 가서 지금 기분 남의 진데. 정말 파서서 잡아다 이제 파 땅에 보라서.
Yeah, that's good.
And then how do you dissolve that negative karma so that doesn't continue to happen continuously? Is there a way?
그래서 다들 지내다 가는 거라기. 나 미결에 가서 세도 월스 되는.
대리지는 먹여 쳐 쏴요 뭐라 저런 게.
맞아. 지난들에 제와대야 보라. 제와 되게 다가는 검도 보라.
대리지 거기 공부해나 아니 녀서 먹여 왔다 레모 보양 고 대체에 또 그런 거다 빠진 좀 먹여 그래서. 대마자니 아니 먹여래라 마시고란다. 검내니 주마 아니 먹여래 사도 마서 팽이로.
So just by doing that, you are habituating yourself to not become angry, and that helps, right? That helps more. Then eventually you'll not be angry at all, So this time you say, okay, I'm, almost becoming angry, but I'm controlling it, I'm becoming neutral, like that. So, but then you become more and more familiar. So just by doing that, that's very good. You're familiarizing yourself to not become angry, and at some point, the result will be that you will be not angry at all, and you will be not unhappy at all.
And that karma would dissolve?
That's right. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Following Ed's question, isn't there a difference between anger arising and becoming angry? Because if anger arises, you could still take it onto the path. That's possible. But if you become angry, you've already fallen under its influence. It's already taken you over, and then it's impossible to take it on the path at that point. So isn't it possible that, because in like Shanti's text, he talks about when something like that arises, you can look for it and you can use that as a meditation, and that way you're not actually falling under its influence, even if you don't act on it.
So, what Ed was asking was either one of that, right?
Yeah.
He's not asking about both of them.
Yeah. Well, he was asking if you become angry.
You became angry already. You're already angry.
Yeah,
You're
that's
mad.
right.
He's not saying about, has not become angry yet. Okay, and I should not become angry. He's not thinking like that. He's already angry. But he said, okay, I'm not going to do anything.
Yeah, it's already, even if it's arising, it's there, but it hasn't taken you over. Is there still negative karma? Because you can still use that on the path. Is there a negative karma just by it arising? Or is it when it takes you over and you fall under it?
Oh, I see what you mean. 다 콘도 사와 섬기라는데는 디바사기라기 콘도 산에 따라 들렸다는 저를 주바는 디바사기라서.
콘도 사와 탐지가지 다 수수지 되게 좀 그랬어. 내가 지나다 디바마서 그러고서. 내가 마주 와나 다 디바사기는 만나 가지 양 디바사기 깨는 거야 다. 아니 수수지 다 대원 좀 그랬어.
So of course, if you don't create the karma, so you have the delusion, and delusion makes you to create the karma, and the result of that karma will be suffering. So that's the process in general, right? But even if you haven't created the karma, but just by having delusion, there's already a disadvantage there, right? So when you become angry, you become unhappy immediately. So that's the the result of that anger. So and then other thing is that builds up the habituation, to become angry again in the future. So of course, becoming angry and then retaliating, and then acting according to that is the worst. But just by becoming angry, still brings damage to you.
가나 공로산에 sem 마치바데다 띵 레원도 로 단대고 사. 친구들.
So yeah, I mean, you can say that becoming unhappy at that time is the result of becoming angry, or you can, or it could be, not you can say, but it could be, that becoming angry was the condition for you to be unhappy, but the karma was created a long time ago.
Okay?
Right?
Like that, then you can stop.
What do you say?
No, I'm just thinking now.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Geshe.
The Google made in China. Everything was made in China. Yeah. Oh,
Thank you, China.
thank you, China. It's very nice. Okay, thank you.
Okay, page 39, Thanksgiving Mandala. Sa shi poki jokshin me tog tra ri rab ling ji ni dai gyan padi sange jing du mig te u wargi dro kun nam dag jin la cho pa shu jet sun la me ku tse rab ten ching nam kar trin la chok chur da dan lo tsang tan pe don no gi dro wei mun sel tak tu ne gyur chig idam guru ratna mandala kam nirya tayami. And okay. Continue. From my 2 collections, vast is space that I have amassed from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may it become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds' wisdom lies blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may I be held in your loving compassion for all my lives, Manjushri. May I find the best of completed graded paths of the teachings, and may I please all the Buddhas by practicing. Using skillful means drawn by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all business. With the points of the paths that I have discerned them, may I uphold Buddha's teachings for a very long time. With my heart going out with great compassion in whatever direction the most precious teachings have not yet spread or once have spread have declined, may I reveal this treasure of happiness and aid. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted boundless peace, and the Buddha's deeds be nourished for a long time. By aiming this graded course to enlightenment completed, due to the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their children, may all human and non-human beings who eliminate adversity and make things conducive for practicing the excellent paths never be parted in any of their lives from the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes an effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, may they always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere. Prayer for His Holiness the Dalai Lama. In that snow mountain circled land, source of every benefit and joy, may Lord Tenzin Gyatso Chen Rezi remain in life till samsara's end. Page 49. Long life prayer for Lama Zopa. You who uphold the Buddha's moral way, who serve as the bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, spreading Mandranath's victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplished magnificent prayer, honoring the 3 jewels, Savior, myself, and others. Please live long. Yeah, page 57, bottom of 57. Through this virtue may I swiftly, having gained Guru Buddha state, place each and every sentient being without exception in that state. Precious Supreme Bodhi mind, may it where unborn arise, and where born never decline, but increase forevermore. Meg say where ter chen chen raising dreaming yen pei wang po zhang pe yang gang chen ke pei zu yen song ka pa lo sang dra pei sha bla so wan.
Thank you, Geshe.
Thank you, Geshe.
Good night. Next week we have no class. Next week because Yoshida's 3 years.
Mike?
Yeah.
Anyway, next week is Geshe Tenley's 3 years anniversary. We say. In our university, we decide to usually the monastery doing to Guru Puja. We also doing to here Guru Puja. Usually we do animal liberation. This time we decide not animal liberation. Also too cold. Also maybe some also old students who like to come join. Then we're going to Guru Puja. Then next year the Sagadava we will do animal liberation. Is maybe May or March, April or May something, because Tibetan has this year 13 months, Western 12 months, but we are very 2-3 months behind than more warm. Anyway, next we have no class, then we do Guru Puja for our Guru. Okay, thank you everybody.